What do you make of Joe's assessment of how Republicans feel about Joe Biden right now? Is he the guy getting everything done while they're sitting there going, how do we change the dynamic here?
Well, look, I think Joe's right that the Republican Party has, after turn, underestimated President Biden. I think it's the case that it's going to be a very interesting contrast. You know, these next 2 years leading up to the 2024 election are a time of great testing, I think, for the Biden administration, given the Republican Congress, the Republican House, that is, given some of the other issues that we're seeing floating around. And the reality is that President Biden is going to go into this reelection campaign, I would argue, as the most progressive president in modern history. If you look at his record contrasted with Barack Obama, contrasted with Bill Clinton, the last two Democratic presidents, Joe Biden's done more to advance the progressive agenda than either of those presidents. If you think about the work on student loan debt relief, you think about the work on spending on the Inflation Reduction Act, you think about the stuff he has done via executive action, as well as the productivity of the Congress over the last couple of years, this is a president who's going to be going into this campaign with really a remarkably progressive record. And I think that is going to be a study in contrast with whomever the Republican nominee is. So I do think Republicans have reason to look at President Biden and say, listen, you know, he was underestimated turn after turn. I think that's right. But I think the next 2 years will be very telling.
So, Michael, nobody knows more than Joe Biden that politics can turn at the drop of a hat, and that there's no reason, pointing to Jonathan Lemir's reporting, to be giddy about anything. And clearly the White House has faced one of its first really big challenges with this document scandal. Do you agree with Joe's assessment, but also have they handled this well? Was there perhaps a lack of transparency in the messaging from the get-go, and how should they handle it moving forward?
I do agree with Joe and what he said and the assessment. I also, if I were in the White House, if it was Chris Lehane and Mike McCurry back in the 90s, and they knew Joe Scarborough and Bob Barr and Asa Hutchinson and Dan Burton were on that oversight committee, a subpoena is a subpoena, right? Yeah. You take that seriously, and they did back then during the Clinton White House. But yeah, I think they're going to have to provide more answers as we go along. Now, I do think he came into office setting a higher standard, right? And so the North Star for them has been the law and following the advice of the lawyers and transparency, right? And that's what I think is driving the public relations strategy is not always convenient to the legal advice you're getting.
Right.
And I think that's the North Star for them. And the president is following the law. And that is going to drive, unfortunately, I think, the PR, which limits them in terms of what they can say. But for the public and the press who are frustrated, I understand. And I think, if you think back to 92, James Carville, what I learned from him, one of my political heroes, was speed kills. Get it out early, get it out fast, take some short-term pain for long-term gain.
Right.
I think they probably would like to, but I think, again, the law and the legal advice is driving the communications here.
Well, these documents, because they're classified, we don't know what the content is and why he potentially had them there. Maybe he pulled them to work on his book, or had that they were misplaced, something that he was going to work on for the book. Why doesn't the Biden administration, if it is something that is not sensitive anymore, because as well as I do that so much is overclassified, why don't they declassify the documents and have more transparency so that at least we know what was out there, if possible?
Yeah, and I'm not there, I'm not in the room, but again, I do think that whatever they can do, I think they're doing the best they can with very crappy options, as Jen Psaki said the other day. They don't have a lot of good options, and I don't know what the legal advisors are saying to them, but I know that that provides a frustration amongst the press and the public, because when you're just referring everything on to the White House counsel or referring things on to DOJ, you're not getting the answers you're looking for. But again, I think this president came in to set a higher standard. The approaches to responding to classified documents when he found them were so vastly different. President Trump's approach was to say they're mine. President Biden's approach was to say, take them.
Yeah.
Come get them and take them.
Get lawyers around.
We don't want them. And the lawyers have been advising every step of the way to suspend everything they do and hand them over.
Willie.
Alani, another issue occupying at least some of the White House time right now is the debt limit. The United States officially hit the debt limit yesterday. Extraordinary measures are in place, according to the Treasury Department, to keep us going here, perhaps into June or July. There doesn't seem to be a lot of hope or urgency at the moment in the House of Representatives to get a deal done. The White House has said we're not negotiating over the debt limit. That's not a bargaining chip. How do you see this playing out, and how bad could it get in terms of the economy?
Well, Willie, it's going to be 4 months of talk and about 2 weeks of action when we get to June, when the extraordinary measures begin to exhaust. I don't see there being a whole lot of movement. I think you're going to see a lot of posturing. I think both sides have the view that they're right. I think the White House believes this ought to be a clean debt ceiling resolution. There really should not be a whole lot attached to it. And you've got relative unanimity amongst Republicans who believe that there should be some fiscal restraint attached to an increase in the debt limit. And, you know, the problem is we've seen this movie before. In 2011, as viewers might recall, we had this situation between the Obama White House and John Boehner and Mitch McConnell in the Congress. And you know who resolved that situation? It was Joe Biden. Actually, Joe Biden was the one who cut the deal. So he has some experience on this. We'll see what happens. The economy is going to continue, I'd argue, to bump along over the next couple months. I think all the indicators are that we're seeing some easing in inflation. It's still causing a problem. We know that economic job markets are going to tighten over the next couple of months. We heard about massive layoffs at Alphabet, the parent company for Google, this morning. So these are the kinds of things that I think over the next couple months, the overhang is going to be a problem. But I don't see it motivating a whole lot of action until we get to the late spring, early summer.
All right, Lanhee Chen and Michael LaRosa, thank you very much for coming on. Good to see you. Thank you both for your analysis.